Oh, oh, sorry about that, folks. All right, everybody, welcome to. We've got day 13 right now. Day 13. This is what we are doing. As you can see right there, we've gotten ourselves into our first buy trade of the day. We are going to be potentially looking for another buy trade to come as we move forward throughout the journey. Both you and I together, as we can see, we're right now in a bit of a uptrend as we speak. So very much looking forward to seeing how this will turn out. I hope each and every one of you are having an amazing day so far. And just to give everybody a perspective in terms of where we're at in terms of equity sake, let's go ahead and let's take a look right here. We've got about 84 on the chart. We've got about 84 on the dot so far. So we're going to go ahead and keep that going from there. Now, I know that that's a little bit less than the equity that we had yesterday. Again, that is to account for the swap fees that are going on with the trades that are taking place. Now, what I've noticed, especially with using Hugo's weight, if you want to go ahead and write a quick note down, this will be definitely important for you as you move forward and choose a broker. But I do believe the day that the most swap fees, so I believe that every day is different, but I believe the day that the most swap fees are processed on your account for holding a trade oh, holding a trade is on Wednesday. Now, as far as how come, is there a rhyme or a reason to it? I'm not necessarily sure. I don't believe so. I don't believe there's a particular reason. How come? Hey, why are we why are we doing all these swap fees right now and then? But what I will say is, a matter of fact, that we have these swap fees taking place on these particular days, and this allows us just to know, hey, you know we're going to need to just brace for Wednesdays whenever that opportunity comes, because that certainly won't deviate us too much from the strategy. We just got to understand, hey, we just got to foresee that and just plan that out whenever we need to. So as far as what I want to go ahead and know what I would like to talk about today, while we are waiting for this particular, this particular trade to play out. And of course, as long as that candle stays right there, we're going to go ahead and also execute another buy trade on top of that, as we don't have a pre-existing sell trade to close right at this particular moment. But what I want to go ahead and talk about is, again, just the efficiency part one more time, as stated on one of our core principles. And again, that's just to make sure that we're doing everything in our power. And as I do that, I also will check into how silver is doing. And right now, not a trade opportunity on silver coming as of yet. But what we're really looking for, again, is just making sure that each trade that we go into, if there's a sell trade, just make sure there's not any open buy trades that we can close in profit, and for any buy trades, that there are not any sell trades that we can close in profit as well. Now, even though that last sell trade, we only got about a 7-cent profit technically. Our account balance moved the needle from 325 to 325.07. It's a lot better still to close that trade than to have that remain open if we need to execute a buy trade, because that will allow us just to make sure that, again, we're not getting into a situation where we are putting ourselves in excessive swap fee territory or anything like that. So, just something that we want to go ahead and pay attention to as we move forward. And again, we got about 15 seconds before that particular candle closes, right? So we're just going to wait until we see if there is a opportunity to get back into another buy trade. And as we can see right here, the next candle is closed. I'm going to put another buy trade, and we are going to keep this show going. So that is about it. Now we just got to go ahead and we just got to let this trade play out. So what else? What else can we talk about? Let's see. So again, is it really, I made a big spiel about the first two principles, but really, if we really think about principle 3, just making ourselves more efficient in our account, for us right now, the importance is just making sure we have all of our trades working, and taking out any excessive trades that don't need to be there, so we can protect the swap fees that are coming into play, as well as unnecessary burden on our equity due to the spread of these particular trades as well. So as long as we know that we have that particular principle covered, that's going to save us a lot of trouble in the long term as we move forward on this journey together. Now, the next core principle that I want to talk about. So again, core principles that we've discussed so far. One is slay the bear. 2 was we just talked about core principle 2, asymmetric risk and reward. If I could spell. I don't even think I spelled the S. I don't think I even spelled asymmetric right. See, this is why I was never this is why I never won the spelling bees. But yeah, asymmetric risk and reward. 3 is efficiency, trade efficiency. And then number 4 would be diversification. So you want to go ahead and write this down. I'm going to take a 5-second pause on that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now, diversification, we did talk about a little bit, in one of our other principles when it comes to slay the bear. Now, really, I want to break down the difference between 1 and 4 so that we're not, that way how I'm explaining it doesn't necessarily sound like I'm taking 1 and taking 4 and basically saying the same thing, but in different languages, so to speak. So core principle number 1, which is slay the bear. Now that's just really to tell us that there's always going to be a correction. There's always going to be a bear market that we have to look out for. And that's just with any particular asset class that's out there. So, you want to talk about stocks, you want to talk about crypto, you want to talk about the real estate market, you want to talk about Forex trading, you want to give me any angel investing, you want to give me any particular investment that is out there. There's always going to be a correction. There's always going to be a bear market. I don't have an example of where this is not true. So, there's always going to be times where we're going to be adjusting, to where we're taking buy trades, we're taking sell trades in that instance, in that slay the bear instance example. That's core principle 1 is just, make sure we adjust if a bear turns into a bull market, or if a bull market turns into a bear market. Now, number 4, the difference between, so for number 4, our idea is that we need to make sure, and we talked about diversification a whole lot, and we could see that we're in the midst of doing that because we're trading both silver and gold, and platinum is in the cooker, or in the tank, so to speak. Here, let me just do this. I'm actually going to go ahead and close a sell trade just because I had a buy arrow come about, even though I was a little bit late on that. But again, the thing is I'm not paying attention much so to the demo account in the perspective of we want to make sure that the real account is okay. So if I am late on the demo trades, as when I am trading on my real account, just know it's not that I don't care about the demo account. It's just, well, we've got to treat the real account a little bit more seriously, if that makes sense. So, that's just something that we want to go ahead and let us know. So we're already so we're in a buy trade in platinum by closing one of our sell trades that were in profit. So coming back to this part, right? What are we going to talk about with the with core principle number 4, diversification? It's coming back to just having diversity across different asset classes. So these classes, right? So we're talking about silver, gold, and platinum. These would all be metals. Now, each of these particular classes, each of these particular pairs are going to have different opportunities at different times for us. So going back to what I had said about the early part of last week, so right around what, day 5, day 6, day 7, right around those times, while gold is great, gold is a steady pair for us, gold has been consistent in terms of producing results for us. We know that in order to become better, the idea is that we want to make sure that moving forward, we are doing everything in our power to go ahead and look at different opportunities that are out there in the market and not just for gold. So, for example, we've got platinum, we've got silver in the wait. So, we're just kind of waiting on those opportunities because that way it allows us a bit more of A, it allows us more opportunities, and B, it doesn't allow us to depend on gold so much for those trade opportunities because there are other pairs that we can. Oh, okay. So we've got a buyer hour disappearing. So we're just going to go ahead and protect ourselves right there. So we took a little bit of a loss on gold today, but that's fine. We immediately saw the loss and, we immediately protect our capital and we just wait for our next opportunity. No problem in that. We believed it was a bull market because of what was going on in the market so far. I could even see that, while we took this particular trade right here, I noticed that there was a trend line that was developing, not just the bull market, but we do see that there was a trend as well. That trend has been broken. So the the bull market is not there. And so we just wait for our next opportunity. No problem on that. We just move on and that's it. Silver, we don't have an opportunity there. And platinum, we are still waiting on that. So we're actually going to go ahead and now transition. We're going to go ahead and transition into what we're seeing with platinum for right now. So when it comes to diversification, it's within, diversity within the metals is fine. So, understanding that we have a stake in gold, understanding that we have a stake in silver, understanding that we're testing our strategy on platinum to ultimately build that strategy into the real account. That allows us for diversification, which is perfect, which is absolutely amazing. But now what we have to understand is, okay, we can do all of that now. So how can we go ahead and keep and even be more diversified? Well, that's where all the currency pairs, all the oils are going to come into play, all the gold markets. I'm sorry, we already talked about gold. All the indice markets, all the crypto markets. Ultimately, and again, this is very much big picture right here. We're not talking about doing all this right away, right? But the idea, right? The idea is that we would go ahead and we would ensure, right? We would ensure that we would go ahead and we would move. Just taking a look right here. Don't mind me. Huh. Interesting. Well, it does say I just took a sell trade. Did I did I end up accidentally taking 5 sell trades and 4 buy trades? Is that what happened here? Huh. Okay. Well, very interesting on that. That's what that is what, a demo account. Thankfully, we did this on a demo account, not the real account, because it looks like I may have let margin go overnight on silver. So I'm sorry, platinum. So very interesting. Luckily, that mistake on my part turned out to be, not killed my demo account. But again, a mistake in for the most part. So that is what I would consider bad practice on my part, even though we're still in the game right there. So very interesting to see all that take place. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's keep the conversation going. So not only do we want to go ahead and diversify within these barrel classes as we talked at the metals, as we talked about gold, silver, platinum. But now we also want to go ahead and consider, okay, how does oil, how does crypto, how do all the Forex pairs play into our hand, and how can we go ahead and take advantage of them? And that's the goal. But we also have to understand that for us to try and do this on the demo account right now, I'm sorry, on the real account right now, wouldn't be helpful in terms of us trying to protect and maintain our equity. Rather, the idea is we want to go ahead and we would like to wait for the, what I like to call, we would like to wait for the pairs to run effectively on a demo account first. And then once we're able to once we're able to determine that these pairs are running on a demo account properly, then we can go ahead and capitalize on the next opportunity that we see fit. And so once they're on the demo account, once we tested them, once we see at least some consistency within a week, then we can go ahead, come back, place them on the chart right here. And now we have that diversification coming into play. Now, the reason we want to be so diversified, so, why do we want to go ahead and make sure we've got some balance in gold? Why we want, how come we want balance in gold? How come we want balance in cryptos? How come we want balance in oils? How come we want balance in the Forex pairs, the indices, everything? What's the point of the balance? Well, what we also have to understand is that everything is cyclical, right? It's almost certain that whatever asset class, and throw it out at me, you're going to put your money in there, that whatever you're going to put your money in, right? So, whatever oil, stock, crypto, bond, real estate, just throw a whole bunch of investments at me, right? Whatever you put your money in, there will come a day when you will lose 50 to 70% of that investment right then and there. And it's not necessarily to scare anybody, right? We don't want to say, hey, if that's the point, don't invest. No, it's a matter of just understanding, hey, if that investment dries up a little bit, you have to understand that other investments are going to go in the opposite direction, right? So, for example, maybe gold doesn't do so well on one trade, but does silver, right? Does silver allow us that opportunity to come back and make a great trade? We don't want to necessarily just have a situation where we're just not trading on a particular pair, right? We don't want to necessarily put our eggs. Here's something to write down. We don't want to necessarily put our eggs in one basket. And so with the setup that we have here right now, we understand that, okay, I've got one egg in gold, one egg in silver, and one egg in platinum. And so our diversification, this strategy that we're using, so we're not only hedging, but we're also, not only are we hedging, but we're also diversifying. Those two principles right there is our insurance policy. Our insurance policy against a nightmare. It decreases our risk and increases our return, yet it doesn't cost us extra to do it. Now, the only thing, that, of course, that we're going to need to dive into and research is, of course, the swap fees. Now, that's just going to happen on all pairs. That's something that is unavoidable. However, with that being said, with all these different pairs at our disposal, all these different opportunities that we have in play, it allows us to keep going. It first allows us to have that diversification. And what it also does, it allows us to get ourselves more opportunities. Thus, we are not thinking about the last trade that took place, good or bad, right? I could say that, once we get our next opportunity, we don't have to think, oh, what happened with that last trade? I'm not confident in the market anymore. It's not, no, we don't want to think of it like that. It's just, okay, we took a loss, but the next opportunity could be a huge home run. Now, I'm not saying the next opportunity could be a huge home run, but as long as I think of it like that, like, what's the next trade? What can the next trade do for us? Don't invest all my emotions into one trade, or a couple of bad trades or whatever. If I can go ahead and say to myself, well, the next trade is coming, is going to put me over the top and make everything else seem, wash away, then we know that we are moving forward in the right direction. The holy grail of investing is to have 15 or more good, they don't have to be great, unconcealed bets. So to us, that means, oh, gold and silver is great, because we have 2 bets on the market, but it would be better to have 3 bets, and it would be better to have 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, in other words, everything comes down to owning an array of attractive pairs, attractive instruments in the market that don't move in tandem. And so, that's another thing. A lot of these pairs would correlate with each other. Some pairs don't correlate with any pairs at all, and other pairs coordinate in the opposite direction. So as long as we have that array, that continuing diversification of our forex pairs, so we can be able to go ahead and we can move forward, then we'll be okay. By owning 15 uncorrelated instruments, as we are working on building right now, we can reduce our overall risk by about 80%, and it will increase the return to risk ratio by a factor of 5. So our return is 5 times greater by reducing that risk. And that may be just stock talk from the book, but if we think about it, it also does work for forex too. If we own a few forex pairs, a few metal pairs, a few oil pairs, a few indices, a few cryptos, and you could throw anything else at me, and we also look for other brokers that can go ahead and even diversify our portfolio a little more, so we're not depending on just Hugo's way. So I talked about Clover Forex and I talked about Envy already, but if we work on a plan to have those put into the mix, then again, we talk about that diversification working in our favor. All the best investors regard diversification as a core component of long-term financial success. And so as we keep that diversification piece in mind, then we can go ahead and ensure that as we move forward, and even though right now we had a little bit of a pothole, a short-term setback with gold, the next trade is on the way, the next opportunity is on the way, and we could be even more confident about that as we go ahead and add to our array of forex instruments that we're trading on the market. Hello, everybody. I am back. So, as we could see with platinum, there was a buy arrow right over here. Now, I had missed that. I was paying attention to what was going on with gold and silver, but we did see that there was a buy arrow right over here. So, I went ahead and I had taken that position right now. So, we're currently now finally in a open buy trade. So, we're going to go ahead and we will let that trade play out. So now I know that we had talked about the core four principles. There was a what I like to call, we were able to break those core four principles up, slay the bear. We were able to then talk about the asymmetric risk and reward. We were then able to talk about efficiency, trade efficiency, and we were also able to talk about the we were also able to talk about the diversification of our trading plan as well, making sure that we trade multiple assets here and there around on the market. So what I want to go ahead and come back to was one of those principles we talked about, which is slay the bear. Now, I want to read a important quote. Again, this is going back to the book Unshakable by Tony Robbins. Now, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. And it's pretty powerful in this sense, right? Whether we're having, and I harbor the journey, right? The day by day journey that we're on. And for someone who is looking at this account, and whether this is your first day, if you're on, if day, what would it be? Day 13, I believe. Day 13, if this is your first day watching, or if you've gone from day 1 to day 13 and have been following along this particular journey or path that I'm on in terms of trading my account, so trading my demo account, just trading everything that I see right now, you could say that this might be a little bit daunting, that you might be very understandably so, right? I mean, someone who I think of myself when just looking at all these trades that we're taking, and whether they're going up or whether they're going down, this could seem a little bit overwhelming to some that are just really just taking this in for the first time, or going like, whoa, like what's going on here, like all these crazy things that are going on in the market. And to that I say, you know we have to understand that this whole particular path is not one that is going to be a straight up path. Sometimes there are going to be days where, we're able to move forward in the right direction. Sometimes we stay even, and sometimes we take a step back. And, we can't blame this on, again, I harbor this. The market isn't out to get us, or the market isn't watching Jordan Rosario's YouTube channel, right? And dictating, hey, he's doing this, so we got to go the opposite way so we can, mess with them. No, they're not doing that. It's more so I'm pressing the buttons. We're taking the trades because of what we are seeing in the market. So, for example, I understand that the reason I'm taking this particular trade, for example, is because I see a relative uptrend, and I'm okay with getting myself into a open buy trade, which again, going back to our trade efficiency, isn't me taking another buy trade, but more so closing a sell trade that was already in profit. So being able to go ahead and take this trade and allow myself to move forward in the right direction is going to be very important as we go ahead and continue moving down this particular path. Now, that path to fearlessness, it's not one that is easily developed, right? It is going to, I'm just checking my trades right here. It's not one that is easily developed. No, you can be unshakable, but this is a gift that you can only gift yourself. No, I can't teach you how to be unshakable. I can't teach you that emotion. I can't coach that emotion. That emotion is already inside of a lot of us. That emotion has already been in there in our core being, in our soul. Not to get too spiritual, but it's already inside our what I call internal makeup. It's all about extracting that particular gift, that particular talent, bit by bit. And again, Rome wasn't built in a day. So we're not asking to go ahead and have you do this on call. This isn't something that you can do overnight. Rather, this particular gift has to be extracted and built upon day by day. Even as we look at my real account and even as we look at our demo account right now, we understand that there has been a lot of ups and downs in this market. For we've been able to experience some joy. We've been able to experience those losses too. Wins and losses is an important part of this trading game. And going back to one of the most important components that you need is, and this will help you become unshakable, is that emotional fortitude to understand, okay, this is all going on right now, but this is temporary. That this can all be, our objective here is to stay relatively within the long-term game of this, because we know that there is a bigger promise waiting for us on the other side that we do. That even though all this has been going on, we don't give up on ourselves. And it's important to also understand that there's a never absolute certainty in life. So we can look back at this trade, right? Gold. So we had closed our trade because we had determined that we were in uptrend when we took those buy trades, and that down arrow. So before this wick happened, we saw this big candle going down, which made the arrow disappear. And I had determined, or I had seen with my own perspective, that that uptrend no longer existed. So I closed my account to protect myself. Now, I could not foresee this rise that's going on in price right now. So I could not foresee that. I don't have a crystal ball. And so understanding this, I understand, wow, while that missed opportunity is most definitely there, I understand that in the future, there will be other opportunities that I can go ahead and take. There will be other trade opportunities to come. So I am not this used to devastate me, right? This used to devastate me and like, oh, dang it, I missed that opportunity. Why didn't I hold on to my trade? Well, true, I could have done that. But what if this went all the way down, right? And hindsight is, it's so cliche, but hindsight is indeed 2020. However, I could not have predicted, nor can we foresee. No one has a crystal ball. I mean, if you want to be certain that you'll never lose money in the financial markets, right? So if you want to be certain that this never happens to you, then certainly what you can do is you can keep your savings in cash, but then you'll never stand a chance of achieving financial freedom. I mean, we take these risks because we know that keeping our savings in cash, I mean, if you want to talk about inflation, fine, but even before inflation, what has that gotten us? What has that gotten us in this particular point in time? Just keeping savings in cash. I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, for those that do have savings, I'm not trying to cast negative dispersions, or I'm not trying to, say that it's not important to keep savings. But for us that are going through the situation where we're really, living this day by day paycheck situation, or if you're in a situation where you do have savings, but the quality of life that you want isn't what you want, then my question, and I'm throwing this out there, but my question is, what can we do that's different, that could be an absolute eye-opening opportunity to change our present life circumstances? Now, my answer, or the answer that I'm proving to myself, as well as envisioning I provide to others, is Forex trading. if there is another path, then there is another path. You always want to be a student and a master, right? So you always want to learn while also wanting to teach. But we can pay a high price for certainty if we just want to keep our savings in cash and not even think about touching investing, or not even think about investing or downgrading investing at all. Investing makes a lot of people wealthy. And so here we are attempting to do the same thing, but having an equal playing field, understanding that we're doing this with $100, right? We're doing this with $100 because my objective is to show that anybody with $100 can do this, right? If you live in fear, you've lost the game before it even begins. How can we achieve anything if we're too scared to take a risk? I mean, that's not just this, right? That's not just trading, but maybe let me put it into more life's perspectives, right? Let's say that and hey, this has happened to me. Let's say that you meet an attractive woman for the guys out there, an attractive man for the girls out there. Now, before, I would be too scared to say anything or too scared to talk to somebody. And over time, and of course, I'm not perfect, right? We all still go through those little doubts in our head that we have to break every now and again. But I was scared. I was scared shitless for lack of a better word, to try to talk to somebody. Now, over time, I've gone ahead and I've asked a couple of people out in there. While it didn't work, it gave me the courage to understand, hey, is that all that happens? Is that the risk that I have? It's just someone saying no. And sure, it hurts the pride a little bit. And I can certainly understand it hurting the pride. But if the worst thing that can happen, think about this. If the worst thing that can happen is somebody saying no to you, if you asked them out on a date, again, just going back to that attractive woman, attractive guy, and wanting to ask them on a date scenario, if the worst thing they could say is no, then I don't understand the problem. And then now let's place this on the other scale. Now let's place this back into Forex trading. The risk is that I totally lose this $100, right? The risk is that this whole $100 is gone. And yes, while that is devastating, that's $100 I will not get back. $100 to a lot of people. And again, I'm just thinking in terms of what I would do with $100. It would be going to a bar, couple of bars, 3 bars. Actually, knowing me, it would be about 4 or 5 bars, and just spending all that in alcohol. And while if that's what you want to do, I'm not here to judge, right? This is a judgment-free zone, but I know that that is what I would be doing with this $100 that's invested in the market. And so if I desire a better life, a better way to be free of my own financial stresses in life, just taking a look right here. If I want to be free of my own financial stresses, then okay, then I'll take the $100 that I was going to spend at the bar and instead place this into my Forex account and let this thing go. And granted, again, I just want to come back to longevity. You know, if you're on day 12, day 13 of your own trading account, and you've never traded the Forex market before, congratulations. A lot of people who don't understand the risks of the Forex market, they usually blow their account by a week. Sometimes even less. I've done that before. I put $100 in there, and that's gone by about 2 or 3 days because I didn't know what the F I was doing. And so just coming back to achieving anything without being scared to take a risk, whether it's money or whether it's getting the date or whether it's, name me anything else. It's better for me to live in, it's better for me to see that I am afraid, see that I am fearful, and still be willing to take that uncomfortable action of recording. I may not be as relatively experienced as some of these other forex traders that are out there. However, I will say this, right? This is I'm sure that anybody who is doing what I'm doing right now, and again, I can't attest to who is doing this like me. I certainly, if you have someone who's doing this, I would love to know so I can check them out and learn. But I'm not sure if anyone is doing what I am doing in terms of putting myself out here, recording my trades, live or demo, because it will all tie together. And everyone is being not only able to see my results on YouTube and seeing the good and the bad and putting myself out here in a state of uncomfortability, in a state of, hey, I'm vulnerable, check out what I'm doing, and making myself vulnerable to the public who's watching this. Also, for those that don't watch YouTube, and I'll put my in my information out again on social media, I post daily my results on Facebook. Check that out at Jordan Rosario. Although right now that has a maximum of 5,000. I've hit that cap, so that's probably not the best way to reach out to me right now. Unless you want to just follow me, which is cool. And again, I'm not doing this for the follows, right? I'm like, if you want to follow me, I don't care. But mainly, I just want you to see that, yes, I am posting when I'm posting, not just on YouTube, but on Facebook and Instagram too. I'm posting every single day, no matter what. If it's a great day, if it's a bad day, if it's nothing, if it's a medium day or a neutral day. Every day that I've been trading since September 6th, and that doesn't include weekends, nor does that include holidays. So there's about 13 days of this journey, including today's journey, that I'll be posting. And you'll see my results, and we'll go from there. But, more to the point, what am I getting? What's the message I am getting right here? Is a matter of the fact that you have to do something. If you want something to change, you have to change something that doesn't seem that comfortable. Because we're all comfortable at some point of being in our own economic state and letting things run. And that's fine for those that want that. But for those that desire to achieve something more, to achieve financial success through investing without the complexity, which for those that are been with me from day one, that's why we're here. That's why you're here, is to understand how to achieve that financial success with investing without the complexity. And in order to do all that, you have to do something different than what you were doing before. It's taking that uncomfortable action. Now, it's not doing it all at once. It's going through it step by step, day by day, like we're doing right here. But it has to start. Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once. And here we are. We're living this life, watching your money go up and down, every second feeling uncomfortable, all the doubts still in my mind. Just because we're talking about this doesn't mean I don't get those thoughts and reactions every day. It doesn't mean I don't get those depressing thoughts, negativity in my brain every day. The human mind produces 60,000 thoughts a day. And I guarantee you that at least one of those thoughts is negative. One of those thoughts is depressing. One of these thoughts is, Jordan, stop this. Those are one of those thoughts, of course. Happens every day. But I don't allow that to affect me to keep the journey going. And again, it's not in a matter of proving people wrong or proving the negativity wrong. It's a matter of proving myself right that I can do this, and at least taking away something that I have learned that I have not learned before. We can never know what and it's stock market, forex market, bond market, crypto market. We can never know what any of those markets can do. But that uncertainty isn't an excuse for inaction. I may never know as we move forward what the account is going to hold for me, or what the trades are going to hold for me, or how we're going to do as we keep going. But because I don't know, or there's that uncertainty of what's going to happen, that doesn't give me an excuse to not try. That does, or do, I should say, to do. That doesn't give me an excuse to not show up every day, to not be able to get on my podcast and record and go through the trades. It certainly doesn't give me an excuse to do that, because I know that there are people that are out there that are watching. There are one that are waiting to see what happens next with this account. They're waiting to see, how does Jordan take the next day? They're waiting to see, Jordan's going through this journey. I can do this journey. I just need to know how to do this journey. I just need to know what my next day is going to look like, then what my next day is going to look like, then what my next day is going to look like. And guess what? Every day is different in the market. Your journey may not be the same as my journey if you trade Forex. If you trade my exact strategy, it may not be the exact clone duplicatable way, right? But I can at least show what I'm doing so that you have your own solid foundation, your own solid blueprint of what to look out for. And if you make tweaks to the formula to say, hey, I like what Jordan's doing, but this is what I can do, and I can be able to take control of what I'm doing and have my own strategy that works. And if I give first the initial blueprint and they improve upon it and tweak upon it, then that's also a successful job for me. That's also me saying, hey, I desire to do a great job, and I've done that. If I can show one person, or if one person takes that particular path. But again, how does all that happen if I, instead of living in my own freaking head, just do the action? If I don't do the action, that doesn't happen. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing, right? And I understand the risks of, just letting these trades go haphazardly and not having, a plan to how to stop these trades. And of course, part of that plan comes from the fact that the pairs that we're working on the real account we tested already on practice. And so I'm comfortable with placing them on a real account. Platinum, we're still waiting on results, because if I place Platinum on a real account without testing it, that is unnecessary risk. That is me going into this situation and not expecting what's going to happen to my account when putting Platinum on. So instead of me not going through that risk of not knowing, I now know what happens with Platinum and whether I continue with it throughout, the days to come, the weeks to come, or if I at least try another pair and come back to this particular pair later. While others live in terror of bear markets, we'll discover that it's the single greatest opportunity for building wealth in our lifetime. And whether you're a bear who's afraid of a bull market, whether you're a bull who's afraid of a bear market, the beautiful thing about Forex trading is that we can take advantage of each and every one of these single markets, because we can either buy everything when it goes on sale, or we can sell everything when there's high demand for it. It's the beautiful thing about Forex trading is that we can go ahead and we can play both sides of the coin. We don't necessarily need to stay on one side. We can play both. Now, in terms of preparing for a bull and a bear market, there are definitely some things that we want to cover in terms of how to protect ourselves accordingly. Okay, so a simple rule should dictate whether we're buying or whether we're selling. That goes back to our entry and exit. We enter a trade when we see the arrow, because what the arrow is telling us is, for example, this up arrow right here is telling us that we're still in a uptrend, right? And again, there's multiple ways that we can prove that we are in a uptrend currently. So if I take my pen right here, we go up, there's a higher high, here's a higher low, and here's a higher high right now. And we can also see that we've got a higher low right around this area right here. So because of that particular market structure, that's telling us that we're still with that means that our buy trade that we have been in for the past 15, 20, 25 minutes is still valid at this particular time. And of course, we exit through two ways. Now, we'll have to wait for we'll have to wait for, excuse me, everybody. I've got a little bit of a frog in my throat. Okay, there we go. So for us, there's two ways of exiting a trade after we've entered the trade. First, we have to understand that we're going to get out of this trade if either the arrow disappears, which confirms that we're no longer in a uptrend anymore to what we can see right now, right? Because again, right, let me explain. While all this great stuff happened after we got out of the trade, before then, we wouldn't have known that. So there's no reason to take unnecessary risk if now our parameters for the trade have changed, because we no longer see that we're in a uptrend that we were noticing beforehand. So that's one way. Now, the other couple of ways is we either hit 30 pips on a trade in profit, or if we get 3% on our account gain. So in this example right here, where our buys are still right over in this area. So we've got a ways to go. So there's no reason for us to really exit this particular trade right now until proven otherwise. Now, the third way that we exit the trade is if our trading schedule, which we've set up from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, if that trade schedule for us goes, if we are at 10 a.m. and we're still not in a position to close our trades, then we make sure that our margin is 0, and we instead wait and fight for the next day, instead of just sitting at the computer past that time getting ourselves tired, getting ourselves drained, getting ourselves burnt out. We put all the trades on hold, stop what we're doing, and then we come back the next day. And that's what we have been doing consistently for these past 13 days. And our results right now show whether we saw, of course, people are going to look at the results and say we're up and then we went down. For me, it's like, yes, that's true, but we're still in the trading game. We are still here talking together, and I have not put the microphone down. We're still talking about what we see in trading, and we're still taking the trades that we're looking for to generate profit in our account. Now, there are two ways to prepare for our strategy long term. And that is, number one, having a diversified set of instruments. So again, we've already built the fact that we're doing gold and silver. We said that already. We said that we're looking at platinum to potentially add into the mix. Now, if that doesn't work, we just go then with the next pair that we see, so that we can still continuously test it. We could still continuously add to the mix. And also, we need to be positioned conservatively enough with some income set aside for a very rainy day, so that you won't be forced to sell when our stuff is down. So this goes back to a very important rule. Invest with money that you can afford to lose. It's that discretionary spending. We're not asking people to put money in that they really can't afford to lose. So this $100, right? I go back to what I said about having those funds in here. All right, everybody. So we are back, and just taking a look at platinum, we could see that the buy hour has reappeared. So our uptrend has not gone away, even though last time that we did see that there was some movement that could potentially have caused the uptrend to stop. So we've gone ahead and closed another sell trade that was in profit, and we are now going to go ahead and allow this open buy trade to play out. So as we could see, even though that the last two trades, we have taken as losses, we are still in the mindset of understanding, okay, just because those two trades didn't work out does not mean that the same is going to be indicative. Our past is never indicative of our future results. And I think that's very important for everyone to go ahead and write down, right? Our past is never indicative of future results, because every trade is different. Every day is different. Every week is different. And every month is different. And so to hang on to what has happened in the past and not try something, or not learn from something, or not grow from something, or not have the courage. And the definition of courage is it's not that you're not afraid when you're courageous, it's that you are afraid, but you're still going to do it anyway. That's something very important that Tony Robbins taught me. That definition of courage. I was at the World Summit. I talked about it on Monday, or what would that have been, like day 10? The days are so I keep these days just keep blurring, and I think it's beautiful, right? But on the World Summit on Friday and Sunday, Tony Robbins came on. He's just a fantastic gentleman, and he taught the importance of being able to take these steps, take these trades, even if you're afraid because of what happened the last time, right? Even though, hey, you're uncomfortable taking these trades, showing people that you've lost these trades and showing this drawdown your equity, you're afraid of what could happen. To still have the courage to say, you know what? it doesn't matter. We're still going to be in the game and we're still going to go ahead and move forward in the right direction. That is the definition of true courage, in my opinion. And again, this is something that I can't I can't coach, or I can't teach somebody to build that courage skill. We all have courage within us at varying different levels and at varying different degrees. The only thing that we can do with courage is have the ability to extract that gift. I talk about the gift of being unshakable. Now, we also have the gift of being courageous within all of us. It's a matter, though, of extracting that particular courage so that we can go ahead and we move forward. And so far, we are going ahead and we will do indeed just that. So, some other things that I want to talk about is we had the last time we got on together, we had talked about the wanting to make sure that we trade with money that we can't afford to lose. That's definitely important because that also puts you in a mindset of, okay, if this goes away, I'm not going to panic. I just go ahead and I move forward in the next direction. I just take that loss, or I take that temporary pain, and I allow it to go ahead and grow me into the next step of the highest version of myself. Now, as far as surviving this market, 90% of that is often just going to come down to preparation. And the other 10% is about how we react emotionally in the midst of this particular storm. So we can see that throughout this particular 13 days, we've seen the high points of what we could do in the market. We've also seen the low points. So we've seen the storm coming in. And so all we've been doing on the onset is just preparing for, okay, how do we tackle this? How do we react where we have a mechanical plan of entering the trade, a mechanical plan of exiting the trade, a mechanical plan of following the trend, a mechanical plan of risk management? This is all mechanical. It's not, we're not doing this just because it looks cute or if it sounds cute, or just because, today the sky is blue, tomorrow the sky is orange. We're not doing that. What we're doing instead is we're just following a set of rules that we have planned out mechanically, that we don't take any emotion into, and we still continue to follow those particular results. Because the four most expensive words, and I'm going to write this down, the four most expensive words in this particular industry, or in this particular financial sector, if you will, this time it's different. Four most expensive words. Now, good or bad, we've always stuck to our plan. Whether it's we go for a trade and we hunt that particular trade down, and we look for either when the arrow disappears, or we look for whether or not the trade that we're in, or the trade that we're about to open, or even the trade that we need to catch up on because we had lost that particular trade. Has that trade gained 30 pips in profit, or has our account balance gone to a 3% total account gain? As long as we follow one of those three rules, if one of those three conditions apply, that's when we exit the trade and we don't do anything different. Now, I guess there is a fourth condition to make things all stable as we step away from the computer. That, admittedly, I had pointed out that I had mistakenly not done this with platinum. But I'd rather learn all of our mistakes on the demo account than not on the demo account, because that'd be too much. But we also want to make sure that at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, which is my time, which is 12 p.m. Eastern, that we've made sure that all of our margin is done, that we are no longer in any particular trades, that the margin has been closed out, and we go ahead and we move forward on that way we can move forward to the next day. And so in our case, we are going to make we are going to make it a point to close all the trades that we're in by the time 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time comes around on day 13, so that we can go ahead and move into now day 14. And if we tell ourselves this time it's different for our plan, then our plan will change and there will be a deviation, or there will be an outstanding result from not following the plan, for good or for worse. And that leads into more questions about what you're doing than what you're not doing. So for me, understanding that, I'd rather follow along with the plan, even if the future then tells me, oh, you should have done this or you should have done that. We saw what happened with gold. I still followed my plan, even though if I didn't follow my plan, I would have gained a result. But would that gain have made me feel good because I didn't stick along with my plan? And it's something that we're going to need to pay attention to, as we're dealing with 0.01 lot size. So it's easy to do this now. It's easy to go ahead and just work, focus on making this 100 to the next 200. But then, following that plan that got us to 200 is going to be important if we want to get to 300. Then if we want to get to 400, then if we want to get to 500, and so on and so forth. The short-term outlook may look dire, but our plan will always rebound. This historical perspective will give us an unshakable peace of mind and helps to keep our eyes on the prize regardless of the corrections and crashes that we encounter in our journey. Think about it like this. It could have been easy for me to give up on what we're doing, after some of the losses we've taken, but then I have to reflect on the fact that I've also won by doing this strategy. And granted, I feel that I have won a lot more than lost, even though the swap fees and everything else did not play in our favor. But as long as I know that I have won with this system and I can consistently win, as we saw in days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then I have the confidence and the peace of mind to know that even as we go through this setback, I am coming out on the other side in a positive direction. The best investors in the planet know that any direction, any loss, any drawback, whatever you want to call it, they know that the gloom never lasts. There is simply no precedent ever in history of the market staying at a low or an account staying low, unless you deviate, right? There are only two potential outcomes: the end of our market as we know it, or a recovery. And every time we bet on the system not working, there's a loss. So as we move forward, and you're seeing this right now, so I would consider day 9 through day 13, because day 13 it looks like is, or at this particular point in time, looking to be a loss period. Consider that this won't last forever, and we have to go through these short-term setbacks. And really, this is a test now of still sticking with the plan. If everything from day 1 to day 4, day 1 to day 8 worked, and now day 9 to day 13, the plan is faltering a little bit, but I have more winning days than losing days. Does that mean that because of the more recent consecutive losing days, do I just stop? And for me, as we go ahead and as we go back to the hedge right here, okay, that was another loss. But by even this, for example, even today, even though it wasn't the best, this isn't the best day of trading for me. Does then my confidence get shaken? Do I go into day 14 now not really wanting to trade because of what's been happening? No. I just understand that right now the market is we had three situations where we thought we were in a bull market. We saw the data that pointed us to, hey, this is a bull market. And all three times we were wrong at that particular point in time. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know where the market is going, but now we have our plan to make sure that while all this is happening, we can come back on the other side, ready to go and ready to bounce back. And that is going to be important as we keep moving forward within this journey, because even though I can't accurately foresee it, I don't know the how, right? But I can believe I can predict that the what and the why is I am going to have a stronger account. People are going to tune in to those future days and they're going to say, well, how'd he do it? How'd you go from that to this? It's like you have to go through each and every day of the journey. You can't go from day 1 to day 13 just like that. You can't just go from day 13 and forget the rest of the 12 days. You have to understand that each day is going to build a piece to the puzzle, the grand puzzle that you're building. And that grand puzzle and that grand masterpiece that we're building is our trading accounts. Hey, what is going on, everybody? We're just going to go ahead and get things wrapped up on day 13 of our Forex trading journey together. Now, we're going to notice that we have a down arrow. So right now we're indicative of seeing a downward trend that is taking place right here. And again, now I do end my trading schedule at around this particular juncture, which would be about 10 o'clock my time here. Now, seeing that and just understanding that, hey, I do have about 5 minutes after this particular candle, as long as the downward arrow is there, to potentially move forward. I may be taking a little bit of a risk by trading in these last 5 minutes. However, I don't mind seeing where this can go. Again, we want to make sure as we're taking these journeys together that we're doing this piece by piece, brick by brick, trade by trade. And I can understand, wanting to go ahead and getting in here and at least, finishing out our day strong. We may have not started the way that we wanted to by losing, 3 trades technically on today's call. However, we still want to go ahead and still remain vigilant and still remain strong for what we want to go ahead and do. Now, again, we've been following the fact that we were in this uptrend before. Now we understand that we turned from our uptrend into a downtrend, especially with gold. So now instead of going in for a buy, we go in for a sell. And again, going back to our trade efficiency core principle, we're going to go ahead and close a buy trade that was already in profit, and we'll be able to move forward in the right direction from there. So I've got about 30 seconds before that particular candle closes. As long as the arrow stays up, we're going to go ahead and we will take this trade. So let's see what happens in about 18, 17, 16, 15. I'm not going to count down. I'm sorry. I'd be like, oh, can you not? I don't want to be the. I want to be the guy that's going to be drowning or be a drone in terms of counting down right here. So we're just going to go ahead and allow this trade to play out. 2, 1. Okay. So we're going to close that trade right there, and we're going to take these next 5 minutes to determine where the trade wants to go from there. And again, whatever happens at the 10 o'clock a.m. hour, that is certainly the direction that we'll go ahead and we will follow. So we will determine that as as we move forward throughout the trade right here. But again, it's not about, winning all these trades, it's about losing these trades. It's just making sure that we still have the fuel, that we still have the firepower to make sure that we are going in the right direction when it comes to our trade scenario. So, we understand that we've got this last trade that was called out. So we're going to take these next 5 minutes together and just allow that particular trade to do its thing. And then afterwards, it's 10 o'clock. We close down the trading terminal for the day. We move forward in life. There is more of the day to be explored, more things to be done. And then we will come back and we will join each other once again on day 14 of our trading journey. And that's the beautiful thing. We don't get it all done in one day. We don't go to day 1 to day 13 just like that, but instead it takes days that are built upon days that are built upon days in order to make sure that we move forward in the right direction. And so as far as just, looking at, what's next, what's the next plans right here? Well, as far as if you've got any questions about what I'm doing, and, feel free to do this on any particular video that you need clarification on, because that only allows me to teach better, that allows me to learn better as well. Even though I do take the opportunity to review these videos, there may be something. I do try to enter every question that you guys have, but there may be something that you might just have a question on, that you might need clarification on. And I would like to address those questions on a live example, or, be able to give you a visual illustration as well as talking about or answering that question for you. So if there are any questions at all, you saw my Facebook information previously in the recording. You saw my Instagram information previously in the recording. Feel free to use that, or just drop a comment down below saying, hey, Jordan, I've got a question about X, Y, and Z, and then A, B, and C, and D, E, F, G. And I will make sure to address all those letters for you as we move forward throughout the journey together. So we've got about 2 minutes, about 2 minutes and 55 seconds before we are done with the trading journey for today. So let's just wait here. Let's park our seats right here, and let's go ahead and allow what it is that needs to be done right here. Not to oversimplify things, but that's basically all we need to do right now. And then other than that, again, we can see where we're at. So of course, we're going to be ending the week tomorrow at day 14 before we move on to the next week. So far, we've been talking about our progress together as we go day by day, and then we're going to be able to talk about the progress so week by week, and then it's going to be absolutely amazing. And so for homework, A, I hope you are practicing in a demo account, and then B, think about the core principles that we took today. What we addressed in those core principles, how they're helping us with our trading plan, and see if there's any core principles that are popping up in your mind, core principles that you are wanting to make sure are part of your trading plan, and write them down, jot them down. Whether they're valid core principles in the future, that's irrelevant. What matters is whatever is in your mind right now, you're thinking about, that's positive. You want to put that down on paper, as that could be an idea that you have scripted into existence that could serve you to become a better trader and can help serve you on your mission as you move forward. So here we go. We're about to close here in a little less than we got 15 seconds, 14 seconds. We're just waiting to see. All right, ready? We've got 10, 9, 8, 7. Got my finger on the buy. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. That's it. We're done. We are done. So looking at today's results, we had an 84 to start the day. We're only at 82, and again, we didn't win, but today we have proven that we didn't allow ourselves to get blown up by the market, and we can go ahead and we now transition to day 14 in the right direction. So with that being said, this has been Jordan Rosario. I thank each and every one of you for listening to today's adventure in the Forex market. And I am looking forward to serving each and every one of you on a tomorrow's day as well in the Forex trading journey. Everybody, have a great rest of your day and happy trading.